Hello. It's Dirty Trucking. It's 2:55 a.m. Eastern time here in the city of Detroit. And I'm going to try to see if I can show you or teach you how to catch what I've been catching with the fluctuation of the amount of fuel in the vehicle. This started, I noticed it when I was in trucking. 1 minute I would have an excessively high fuel bill. And then periodically, then after that, it'll end up going back to normal. But, as I was fueling, and as truckers, as drivers, especially a trucker, you get to learn certain things, how your vehicle operates, and how fast it burns fuel in certain areas you're running, and especially off a fill-up. You know how far you can get off a fill-up. And in the wintertime, that float starts not showing the accurate amount of fuel in there because it's cold, and we run in the highway, and that diesel is moving back and forth in that truck. But I started noticing something that was a little bit unusual. I started noticing, for the amount of diesel I knew I had left in the truck, I would be at the pump fueling, and it was just filling up, just running up until, I just like, damn, why is this thing still fueling? And the minute I get ready to go walk to it, pop, the thing pop. I'm like, ain't that about nothing? Now, hadn't I decided to walk to it, it wouldn't have done that. And I've had it happen dealing with cars. So I'm going to show you my total mileage. And the average in a day, the most highest I've done, is maybe, I normally get over 300 miles in a day before my fuel gauge is all the way over on E. But because of the way I have been fueling the past 2 days, we're going to have to do this presentation starting at a half a tank. So I had already told you, and I believe I made a video showing you, that a half a tank on this car says you should get about approximately 244 miles off of a half a tank. So we can give it a roundabout range. I want to say between 225 to 244. That'll be pretty much accurate, somewhere around in there. Now, if this is accurate with this digital stuff, when these cars and these dashboards became more and more digital and electronic, where they can start doing stuff to vehicles like they be doing over the internet and shit, that's where all the scamming shit came in. And I've been seeing this in the fuel industry. I have been seeing where you end up getting ripped off putting gas or diesel in your vehicle. And I noticed it in trucking. You end up getting ripped off. You all of a sudden, 1 minute, just out of the blue, your vehicle seems like it's taking more fuel than what should be in there. And it got so bad out there for me that I had begun getting sticks. I would get a stick, and I would stick it down in the fuel tank, all the way down to the bottom, and pull it out, just to see how much level of fuel was in there. Because I said, I can't be putting this much diesel in here, because the bill was just running up. I mean, you just be standing there waiting for it to pop, for the damn the gas nozzle to pop. And it's just standing there and the numbers running up. And then all of a sudden, when I start walking toward it, I've had this happen quite a few times. That all of a sudden, if I go to reach for it, all of a sudden, you hear it like make that noise like it's just filling up. So, and the only way you can accurately know if it's actually still pouring out fuel, if fueling, putting diesel or gas over in your vehicle, you would actually have to have a camera in there. Because they have ways to be slowing their pumps down while the numbers is still running up. I have caught that. So, this presentation I'm going to show you with this vehicle. And this has started, I've been noticing this here. It started maybe, I want to say 2 days ago, when I noticed I ended up fueling a little early, putting more gas in here earlier than I should have. Because I'm off on the defueling here. Because normally I'll just fill up. I would fill all the way up and just run the day out. That's it. I don't put no more in there. Now, if I had to put more in there, something's wrong. So, but I'm kind of off because of I end up having to cut my days short because I wasn't making no money. So it left me with a half a tank. So I'm starting at a half a tank. So, all right, I'm going to show you. These are miles I did today. I have about like an hour left to drive. These are the miles I've done today. 294.7. And you see where the gas hand is. Now, we're going to start this scenario. Now, today, when I started driving, my gas hand was just a smidget past the half full. Just a smidget past. I took the vehicle down to go clean it and vacuum it out. And by the time I got done with all that, which is right up the street, by the time I got done with all that, it had moved to right on the halfway mark. And then from there, to go get something to eat, which was right down the street from where I was at, it had moved just a smidget past the halfway mark. So you following me? Okay. So I'm just going to do this presentation. It wasn't too far past the halfway mark. So we're going to say the tank was on. We started with a half a tank. Now, we started with a half a tank. And I've showed you that this car says on a half a tank of gas that I should be able to get approximately up to 244 miles for be on F. So we're going to have to give or take, you know, a few miles off of that when it being on E. We just going to do 244, the range from 225 to 244 off a half a tank. Okay. Now you see the mile. I'm at 294.7. Now, it says a half a tank should get me anywhere from between 225 to 244. A half a tank. That's running it all out. That's on a half a tank. Now, you see I'm at 294.7. And I have pretty much every day, depending on how fast I make my money, but pretty much since I've been driving, I average over, you know, pretty much 300 miles a day on a vehicle. 300, maybe up to 360, depending. And these trips is getting more miles on them, and that's another thing running the gas down. Okay, so let's go back to the scenario. So I'm going to flick back. All right. Where this hand is now is where I decided to go ahead and get gas. I didn't want to run it all the way out because, you know, this car said I should be able to get 244 miles off a half a tank. Anywhere from 225 to 244. So, I didn't want it to get too far over. So, I decided to go get gas, when the needle was right where it is right now. And I looked at the mileage. The mileage said I had done exactly 87 miles. From a half a tank to here. It said I had done 87 miles right here. So, I got gas. I filled it up all the way to, I think it was like this light notch before the F. And this said at the current fueling, I should get 354 miles. Now, the other day, I put it on full. On full, that's another thing I've been noticing. When it's on full, this car has stopped saying I should get approximately 400 to 25, the most I've seen 454 miles off a full tank. Now, I had filled it up yesterday where it was actually on full, and it didn't say I can get 400 and something miles off of it. I started noticing that. And also today, when I filled up, it was on F until I got ready to move the car, and then it went up to that. And my trucks used to do that. I would fill up, top it off, it would be on F. But when I get in the truck, it'd be then went up 2 notches. And I never did understand that. The truck diesel would be on full, and I top it off to where when you take the cap off, you see diesel. But for the life of me, I never understood why, after I started driving out of the goddamn truck stop, my gas hand would go from F up a notch just that goddamn quick. And all I did was go to the pull out on the street. I never understood that. So I began to think, well, maybe that's maybe a feature to keep you, so you won't run out of gas. It'll just automatically goes up a notch. So I started thinking that way. But now here with this car, I filled up. It was on F. Before I got ready to take off, of course, it went up a notch. But off what I filled up, it said I should get 354 miles. Now, I had this much gas left in the car, from where it is now down to E. And then I filled it up. And it said I should get 354 miles off the fill up. And I should get, we gonna just use 225 off a half a tank. But I only got 87 miles when it got to this point. So if I take half of 225, that's what, 112.5. 112.5. Or if I did the 244, that would be 122. 122. So from this notch to this notch, I should get approximately from 112 miles to 122. Now, mind you, I done filled up. From this F to this F, I should get anywhere from 225 to 244 miles. Just from here to here. Now, that plus the 112 or the 122, whichever one you want to add, that's how much I should get off the car before it get this close to F. Is you following me? But it's not. I filled up and it got from this notch, it was on F, but it went up to this notch. From here, even to here, I still should be able to get 225 to 200, let's say 235. 235 miles. From here to here alone, 235 miles. I'm at 294. From this halfway point to this halfway point, I should have been able to get 112 to 122. Give or take. But it said at the time I was putting gas in the car, I only got 87 miles. How did I only get 87 miles from here to here when it says from here to here, if I would just fill this car up to a half a tank, the gauge would say I should be able to get 244 miles. Now, mind you, We got to add the reserve that's left in the tank. We got to add the reserve that's left in the tank. So let's go to what's left in the tank. It says, from here to E, I should get 135 miles. That's what it says. From here to E, I should be able to get 135 miles. Okay, from here to the halfway mark, I should have been able to get 135 miles. But I didn't. When I fueled, it said I had got 87 miles. So you following me? That's how you end up getting ripped off with gas. That's how they end up making you think the car need more gas. This fluctuation of the gas needle. And on the trucks, it's the float. But when it fluctuates and start dropping down too low, and you know you ain't drove that far, and it start just getting down way too low, and it usually do it when it's cold. But you know you should have way more diesel in there. You pull in the truck stop. You go get you some diesel, because now it's looking like you're damn near low. You damn near ain't got none. And then you sitting there just watching your gas hand, them numbers just run up on the fucking diesel. And then you like, damn, this thing should be full by now. The minute you walk to it, pop. The pump just, stop when you start walking to it. Because while you was standing there, the diesel might have been coming out so slow in the tank, you wouldn't have known, but them numbers was running up fast. I did a video not too long ago. I would say back in the summer, maybe before the summer. I did a video about fueling a car. And I told you, I turned my head and turned back and looked at, I was done fueling. I walked to it and it popped. I was wondering why it didn't. I started walking to it and the gas hand popped, saying it was full. I seen how much was on the pump, the price, what it ran up to. I turned to go get the nozzle out of the car and turned back. And just that quick, the numbers had ran up while I was turned. Pay attention. Watch closely. You gonna start seeing what the fuck I'm telling you. They've been ripping you off at the pump. And it's been going on for years. I started noticing it getting diesel in a semi-truck. All of a sudden, I'm suddenly putting gas in the car. I don't put gas in the car twice a day, only if I start on a half a tank or start somewhere low. That's why I normally like to fill up. But now when I fill up, it's not saying I can get 400 and something miles off of it now. It's not saying that. So that's like 100 miles off. 50 here, 100 miles off. That shit adds up. Start paying attention. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Maybe one of y'all might catch y'all gas hand and the pump still running when you know your diesel stopped. Start paying attention. I caught this out there driving semi-trucks, and they still doing this shit with the cars. That's why I had excessively high fuel bills. It would happen in the summer. It would happen when a diesel was cheap. When it's cheap, you get more fuel for a less price. I started getting fuel at a higher price. Even though it was cheap, my fill up will ring up at a higher price. And they would do it periodically. It was like no set time for them to do it. It'll just happen, and I would notice it's doing it. Because I would be at the pump, wondering why this fucker ringing up like it is. Start paying attention. You will catch what I'm saying they doing. You getting ripped off at the pump because somehow they are making the car seem like you done ran all the gas down when you didn't, and it makes you go get more gas, and you standing there and it's just filling up and ringing up and running up the price. Start paying attention. This dirty trucking. I'm out.